In the early 1990s, the Soviet Union collapsed and split into many countries with various forms of government, some far more democratic than the others. One of the countries born out of this split was Russia. It was a free and democratic country that was going to enter the 90s full of joy and ambition under its new president Boris Yeltsin, and would be a great part of the free world. Except for a few problems. Russia inherited many things from the Soviet Union, like its courts and a constitution written in 1978, which was intended to work within the framework of a communist dictatorship and not a democracy. It became apparent that if Russia became a little bit fractured, things would go badly. And guess what happened immediately after Russia became a country in 1991? It became a little bit fractured. The economy declined and unemployment rose, and many people blamed Yeltsin's economic policies. Parliament said he was not doing his duty and was literally hurting people and letting the country fall apart. Parliament was able to block the passage of many of Yeltsin's reforms, and Yeltsin attempted to get around this by utilizing presidential decrees and executive orders, some of which were declared unconstitutional by the courts. Yeltsin was given temporary powers up until December 1992 to implement his economic reforms, which meant he could make laws regarding the economy without Parliament's approval. When Yeltsin asked Parliament to extend them, they declined. Yeltsin then declared that he had the power to create a new constitution and would do so following a referendum where the people could vote to approve his continuation as president. He also included provisions to dissolve Parliament early in the referendum. Parliament impeached Yeltsin over this, but he survived and was able to stay on as president, and the referendums went ahead. The people voted yes to being asked if they had confidence in Yeltsin, but the minimum votes to dissolve Parliament and have early elections did not pass. Yeltsin then called a constitutional convention in line with this result. Let's see the president's proposed constitution. Yeah. Let's see the parliament's proposed constitution. The two sides were unable to come to an agreement, and so no new constitution was created. So now poor old Boris was stranded without his decree powers, which had expired, and Parliament was able to do its own thing, often clashing with and embarrassing Yeltsin. At one point they passed a law saying that Sevastopol, a city that was part of Ukraine, was actually a state within Russia, and that they would do whatever they could to ensure that it was. The new law politely asked Ukrainian soldiers to leave the city and allow the Russians to come in. Naturally, this freaked a lot of people out. Did Russia just declare war on Ukraine? Were they about to invade? The president didn't want to invade, but the parliament did. So Boris had to stand up and go, no, Russia will never invade Ukraine, come on now. Parliament also opened several independent investigations into Yeltsin and his allies for corruption. These two factors are just examples of how both parties completely distrusted the other and paralyzed the country by fighting each other instead of helping the people who were suffering. Yeltsin decided enough was enough and was sure he could win. He ordered that Parliament would be dissolved and a new election held. He explicitly did not have this power, and so Parliament impeached him. But hang on. If I dismissed you, and you dismissed me, then who's flying the plane? This was the tipping point for Russian democracy. The move was unpopular within Russia, but Yeltsin's supporters had control of much of the media. Additionally, foreign leaders like Bill Clinton supported Yeltsin because they thought his actions would solve the mess, making Russia stable and democratic. Violence erupted on the streets between those who supported and those who opposed Parliament. The parliamentarians barricaded themselves in the building and refused to come out, believing that if things broke down, the army and the people would support them because they were legally in the right. However, Parliament was isolated. It had limited media control and struggled to reach out to establish alliances. It had almost no international backing and was seen as illegitimate by foreigners. It was internally divided by political beliefs, and it was not clear how they would improve the economy should they win. Yeltsin was just one man, but he was a powerful man because he bore the title president. It gave him a lot of prestige as an individual. He had several key allies, including the USA and the Ministry of Defense. With this, he was able to sway several members of the military to his side. His forces surrounded Parliament, and when they offered a compromise of new elections for Parliament and President, Yeltsin cut off the electricity and the heating. Some armed supporters of Parliament were able to make their way into the building to support their leaders, where they were directed to take over several important other places, resulting in violence on the streets. So then Yeltsin was all like, "What's up guys, Gangster Yeltsin here, and today we're gonna kill everyone inside Parliament!" Hi, it's me, I'm one of Boris's friends, I just want to talk. The The army attacked parliament and restored order under Yeltsin's authority, arresting the parliamentarians and crushing protesters. Yeltsin silenced much of the media, banned many political parties, and centralized power. He implemented his new constitution and had it approved by voters later that year. It is the current constitution of Russia. As a result, it is now a top-heavy country where the president has most of the power and parliament's power is limited. This was achieved by simply blowing up Parliament House. At the same time this all occurred, a young dreamer named Vladimir Putin was probably sitting at his office in St. Petersburg and thinking, maybe amending the constitution and using force to ensure personal rule is alright. Okay, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Bye. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.